How would it feel to sign 40K's worth of clients in a week without posting on social media? Oh, that got you paying attention, didn't it? Welcome back to another episode of Becoming an Online Sales Queen. And in this episode, as I just said, I'm going to break down the strategy for you that my client used to sign 40K's worth of clients. Okay. Now, I must caveat that by saying that she was selling an offer that was 5 to 10K. And I've also had another client use exactly the same strategy, almost word for word, in fact. And her result was 24K, again, without posting on social media. And her offer was like, I think 3 to 8K or maybe 3 to 10, but definitely 3 to 8K. And so I'm going to break down for you in this episode exactly how you could use a very similar strategy to make sales, to sign coaching clients into high ticket group offers, high ticket one-on-one offers without posting on social. Okay. And I know when I say that very last bit, without posting on social, so many of you are like, yay, because all I'm hearing at the moment from all the coaches and the service providers and agency builders that I speak to is you are fed up with social. We've had the news about TikTok. We've had, people, some people go viral on Instagram. Other people get crickets. It's very unpredictable. And so I'm hearing a lot of people talk quite negatively about how they feel about social media, because it feels like you need to have your phone like permanently attached to your hand. You need to be constantly like loading stories and in the DMs and building carousels and spending hours in Canva trying to create something that's really different. You've got to buy, different video apps and AI apps. And it just feels like a hard job, because although social media is free and readily available for all of us, you've got to do all of that work only to then get met with crickets. And I know that that feels hard. So the strategy that I'm about to share with you means that it isn't that you don't ever have to post on social, because of course we all need a personal brand. Of course we need to build in our audience's eyes a real understanding, a solid understanding of what problem we solve, why we solve it, who we solve it for, what the result of that solution looks like, what the offer is, the offer is the solution, how they can buy it, what the investment is, what the delivery looks like. We need to build an understanding in our buyer's eyes of all of those things. And social media is a great way to do that. And so if you're feeling all neggy with social, try and put that to one side for a minute, because the strategy that I'm about to share doesn't involve posting on the grid or in a feed, but it does involve using the DMs, right? And I know that's the point where you're like, oh, Rach, really? DM outreach? Are you really saying I need to do that? Do I really need to do that? It's 2025. Surely we're not doing cold outreach. You're absolutely right. We are not doing cold outreach. That is not what I'm talking about, okay? I am not suggesting for 1 second that you would be one of those spammy, sleazy, icky weirdos who slides into your DMs with an unsolicited invitation to buy something, okay? That is not what I'm recommending. What these clients did in their DMs is something that you can absolutely do too, without feeling salesy, without feeling all weird and awkward. And the result is incredible. Okay. I've used this strategy myself. I use it all the time. It works great for mid and high ticket offers. And obviously my clients have just had those incredible results, £24,000 and £40,000 in a week. Okay. So let me break it down for you. Let's start with whether a DM is cold or warm. Yeah. To start with. A cold DM, as I've just said, is the unsolicited, I didn't want to hear from you, I don't really care what you've got to say DM. This is not what these clients did. What they did was send warm DMs. So what makes it warm versus cold? Well, what makes it warm is the fact that you know the person, you know them by name, you've already built a relationship with them. You know that they watch your stories or engage with your content. You see their name regularly pop up as somebody that, engages with your stuff, whether that's a comment, whether they share it, whether they post it on their stories, like whether they tap the polls and the stickers in your stories, whatever it is that they're doing. A warm DM is where you're DMing somebody like that. It's warm. You're able to say, like, hey, Sarah, how you doing? Rather than just send a cold copy paste DM. Okay. So the difference is they're warm. You know who they are. They know who you are. Okay. Now, the next bit is, well, do they know about your offer? Do they need to know about your offer? No, they don't. But what you need to know about them is what they do. Yeah, like you need to know what their role is, what their business is. You also need to have an understanding of what their challenges are, what their goals are. And you might think, well, how on earth am I going to be able to find that out without first having the conversation? Well, you will know that about your audience if you are regularly using polls and stickers in your stories. If you are regularly reaching out and building relationships with your audience, then your audience is more of a community than just a group of followers. So that's a question I want you to really reflect on. Is your audience a group of followers that have just hit a button and now they see your content? Are they just followers, or are they a community? Does it feel like they're hearing from you? You're serving them. Your content is designed for them. You are engaging, reaching out to them, not every day, but you know who each other are. You're aware, you're familiar with each other. There's a connection, there's a rapport. Yeah. So if you can think about that and think, well, actually, Rach, my audience is just a follower. They're just a group of followers. Then you got some work to do before you can even use this strategy. Because if your audience are just random names that, you look at your follower list and you're like, well, they follow me. I don't really know who they are. I don't know anything about them. Then they're just followers. And for you to have an audience that is ready to buy, there needs to be rapport, there needs to be connection. Okay. So there's some work to do for you to warm up your audience. How would you best do that? Personal content, behind the scenes content, sharing content in your stories, talking about not just your business and your offers, but talking about your life, talking about your story. How did you come to do what you do? Why do you do what you do? Why do you love doing what you do? Who have you helped recently to get a result? What was the story? And are you then asking questions like, is this something that you want too? Is this a challenge that you've ever experienced? Yeah. You might tell a story where you reflect back on a difficult time in your business and have a poll or a sticker beside it and say, are you experiencing this right now? Is this something that you're facing in your business? Yeah. If you're not using polls and stickers, your audience can't engage with you. And if they can't engage with you, you can't get to know them. Okay. So this strategy that I'm about to give you, or that I am giving you, is reliant on you having a warm audience. It's reliant on you understanding who is engaging with your content, what their current challenges are, maybe even why those challenges are present for them, and most importantly, what they want instead. Yeah. So for me, when I'm engaging with my audience, I help women make money. I help women, scale their business. So one of my first questions is, where are you at right now? What's your next income goal? What's stopping you getting there? And I don't ask that to be, one of those weird DM people. It's the type of conversation that, high level women have, because you're like, how are you getting on? What's working for you? Let me tell you what's working for me. Let's share notes. So, yeah, like you need to be asking those questions. You need to be open and inviting with them, telling you about their goals, telling you about their challenges, and not necessarily always come back with you need to buy this thing now. Yeah. Like just listen, just understand people. So these clients who got these great results, this 40K, this 24K, what did they do? Well, they regularly do engage with their audience. They've built a community, not just a list of followers. They knew when they were reviewing the offer that they were about to bring to market, they knew, because I asked them on our mastermind calls, can you list out 10 to 20 people who are a good fit for that offer? And they were able to do that. So that's another question for you. Can you list out people in your audience right now who are a good fit for the offer that you are selling? If you can't list out 10 to 20 people, again, there's some work to do on engaging and building that community feel. So I asked these girls, can you create this list of hot leads? And they were like, yeah, I know exactly who the right people are, who wants that outcome right now. So the next part is, I said to them, well, you know that the offer's a good fit. How are you going to explain that to the client, to the potential client? What are you going to say? What if they were right here now and you wanted to invite them to the offer, what would be the rationale as to why you think the offer is good for them? So that either needs to be you're experiencing this particular struggle in your life or business, and my offer is the solution for that problem. My offer has been designed for people who have that problem, who are feeling this particular way, and who want the solution, who want the outcome. Yeah, or rather than being problem-led, you need to be solution-led and say, I know that my client or the person in my audience wants to hit a 20K month. That's her next goal. And this particular offer has been designed specifically for somebody who wants to hit a 20K month. Yeah. So it needs to be problem-led or it needs to be outcome-led. And when you know that the person that you've listed on your hot leads list wants to solve that problem or wants to get that outcome, then you've got a potential person that you could send a DM to. Okay. So regular polls, regular stickers, people, and, be asking questions and really get to know who's in your audience. And then the next part of what we've got to do to get these sales coming in is do the voice notes. And I've got one client at the moment who is really wanting to execute on this strategy, and she is doing it now. But for the last 2 weeks, she's had some real resistance. And every time I speak to her on our mastermind calls, I'm like, have you done it yet? Have you done the DMs? And she's like, no, I haven't. I can't do it. I'm procrastinating. I will do anything other than do these voice notes. But now that she's started to do them, I was chatting to her yesterday, she was like, oh my God, the feedback that I've had from people has been incredible. You'll have people say things to you like, when you voice note people, you'll have people say, thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you for reaching out to me personally. I love that you've messaged me personally. It's great to hear your voice in my DMs. Yeah, it's far less weird to send a voice note because it's more chatty than it is to send a copy-paste message, okay? So please don't cut corners. Yeah, you're listening to this show because you want to be a sales queen. So do it the sales queen way. The sales queen way is not a copy-paste crappy message. It is you being really thoughtful and reaching out with a lovely voice note and saying something like this. Let's call the potential client Sarah. I don't know, for argument's sake. Hey, Sarah, it's Rach. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day. Listen, I'm reaching out to you today because I remember you saying last week on my stories that you really wanted to hit a 20K month. Is that something that you're still working on now? If it is, I'd love to have a chat with you. I've just designed an offer designed specifically to get women like you to hit 20K months. We're going to be working through a really specific framework, and I would love to tell you more about it. Does it sound like the sort of thing that you would like to have a chat about? That would be the message. Okay, so that's less than a minute long. It's very specifically built around a goal that you know that person has got. It doesn't sell your offer. It doesn't even refer to your offer by name. There is no mention of price. Didn't even say that it's a group program or a one-to-one. Didn't give any reason for them not to. I just said, I've designed this offer to give the result that I know you want. And I've built a specific framework or a methodology that's going to help us get there. If this is a goal that you still want to work on, let me know. Let's have a chat about it. Okay. So it didn't sell the offer. It focused purely on what she wanted. Okay. Now, the ladies that have been using this strategy, their percentage of people that have reached back out and said, oh my God, thank you so much for thinking of me. Yeah, I'd love to hear more. That percentage is really high. It's over 60% of people reach back out and say, yes, tell me more. Okay, so it's not as you expect it to be. You expect that when you DM somebody about a potential offer, that people are going to go, no, F off, get out of my inbox. But they're not. I promise you, they're not going to do that. Okay, as long as you're making it personal, you're sending it to people that you know the offer's a good fit for, you're showing that you are being thoughtful, you're leading with service. As long as you show that, you're going to get the same reply as I do, as my clients do, which is, thank you. Like, really, thank you. I appreciate you reaching out. It's lovely to hear your voice. Okay. So I want you to have a go at this, right? I want you to reflect on, do you have an audience of followers or do you have a community? And obviously, if you don't, then this strategy may not be for you right now, but you can definitely like subscribe to YouTube, come back to it, save it, bookmark it, do whatever you need to do to come back to this strategy, because you definitely don't want to be forgetting this. But if your audience feels a little bit cool and they're not particularly, engaging with you, and you don't know what their goals are, then you've got some warming up to do. If you already believe that your audience feels like a community and you can list out 10 to 20 people that are a good fit for your offer, then this is absolutely a strategy that you want to be trying. Okay. So the final thing I want to run through with you in this episode of the show is just some like tips, because I know that so many of you would have the intention to take what I've shared with you today and have the intention, you'll put it in your calendar and you're like, do what Rach said, send the voice notes. And then that little calendar slot will come up and you will find anything else to do other than do it. Okay. So I want to give you just a couple of tips before we finish this show, just to help you to prioritize this as something that actually gets done. Because I know when you execute this, you will make more money. You will feel like a sales queen, which is what you're here for. Okay. So some tips for sending voice notes. Before you send any voice notes, get into a really high vibe state. Get your frequency super high. Now, that might involve you dancing around the kitchen to some music, putting your favorite tracks on. It might involve you taking the dog for a brisk walk on the beach. I live by the beach, so I always use the beach, but you may be like, Rach, I don't even have a beach. But take the dog to the park, get out in nature, get out in some fresh air, and use that to get in a high vibe state. You might get in a high vibe state by listening to a meditation, okay? But do what makes you feel good. Only send those voice notes when you are feeling in a good place, okay? Again, this is all about energy. I want you to not send any voice notes until you are in the energy of serving, okay? You're in the energy of serving. Don't send voice notes while you're in the energy of desperation, the energy of pick me, please buy my thing. We don't want to be sending voice notes from that place. We also don't want to be sending voice notes trying to sound all high vibe and energetic and excited, whilst in the back of your mind, you're thinking, oh my God, they're going to tell me to F off. This is not going to get met with the sort of, sort of happiness that Rachel suggested. They're not going to say, thank you, I appreciate you. They're going to literally like block me. Okay. Like, don't be sending voice notes while you are worried, because that energy will come through. Okay. Get in a high vibe state. Dance around to Rihanna in the kitchen. That's what I do. Dance around to Rihanna in the kitchen. Get yourself feeling really, really good, and then be in the energy of service. So I want you to say things to yourself like, I'm sending these voice notes because I care. I'm sending this person a voice note because my offer is the solution to their problem. I'm sending somebody this voice note because they told me that they really want this outcome, and I've designed my offer so that that is exactly the result that they will get in the shortest possible time frame. Why would they not want to hear about that? Okay, so be in the energy of service. Just to give you a tip around how I like to do this, I like to walk and talk. So if I was to sit at my desk and send these voice notes, the energy wouldn't be quite as good. Another tip is don't make the voice notes too long, and definitely don't send like 18 voice notes, because when somebody opens up their DMs and sees all those voice notes, that's not going to feel good. So, sorry, I think I just slurped into the microphone then. So, Keep your voice notes short and to the point. And if you're going to ask questions, ask just one, two at a max. Yeah, but don't ask loads and loads of questions. I've given you the strategy. I've told you how simple it is. I've told you that your audience needs to be warm first. I've even given you like a sort of a script, like a little run through of what it would sound like. And I've given you some tips around how I like to do it, okay? So there is no excuse, sales queen, for you not to be able to do this. So we'll leave it here for today, for this episode. I would love you to try this, and I would love you to reach out. So if you're going to practice your DMs, how about you make the first one to me? Yeah, I would love you to reach out. Let me know what you're enjoying about the show. And if you've got any other ideas for the show, let me know.